Am I the a-hole for requesting that my fiancé kick her twin sister from position of maid of honor in favor of my sister? Okay, so my fiancée Eva 28 and I 29 have been together for 5 years and are due to be married in 8 weeks time. However, an issue has arisen because Eva chose to make Maya, her twin sister, her maid of honor. Originally she wasn't going to be in the bridesmaid party at all due to a complicated pregnancy, but she ended up with a C-section and she and baby are doing well now. Now, in what I consider to be a horrific decision, Eva has chosen long white dresses for the bridesmaids, including her sister. Eva's dress is similar to this, and the bridesmaids are like these. So not only will they all be in white, I'm worried as my wife and her twin are identical, people will be confused all day who the bride is. We have over 400 guests and a lot of people will be thinking that Maya is the bride. Eva really doesn't seem bothered by this at all and said she absolutely won't change the bridesmaids' dresses. So I suggested asking Maya to step down as bridesmaid, or more honestly don't understand the difference, so she could wear a different color. To avoid confusion, Eva was literally disgusted by this idea and shot it down immediately. I asked why she wouldn't consider my sister, and she said seeing as my sister lived across the country and they had only met a handful of times, she wasn't comfortable with it. I said she needed to come up with an alternative, because I'm just not comfortable with the entire thing. The bridesmaids being in white makes me feel like it's some crazy multi-wife wedding, and I'm marrying them all, including her twin. I put my foot down and refused to do it all her way, but it's an unstoppable force against an unmoving object. Finally Maya called me up to ask me to drop it and said that I was stressing Eva out and upsetting her, but I stick by my decision. It will make the wedding a confusing mess. Am I the a-hole for wanting our wedding to make sense? Imagine wanting your bride to kick out her twin sister, the person she's closest to, spent her whole life with, and grown up next to, and replace her maid of honor with someone she barely knows, just because you don't want them to look similar. Imagine forcing her to have someone she doesn't know see her almost naked as they help her get into her dress, be in her most intimate photographs with the people actually closest to her on her special day, help hold her dress up when she pees FFS. All because you want to act like a 2-year-old who can't tell your wife to be and her twin apart, even when they are wearing different clothes. Imagine putting your foot down and having that be the hill you die on. Imagine being okay with ruining their relationship, the heartbreak the Ma would feel as her sister tells her she's not only no longer the Ma, but she's not even in the bridal party because her fiancé is forcing her to cater to his pettiness. Imagine not caring if their relationship will ever be fixed, all because you didn't want your maid of honor and bride to look alike. Imagine being that selfish and self-centered. And after all this, you're asking if it's okay to want your wedding to make sense? You, who said himself that he doesn't even know the difference between the bridal party and the maid of honor, suddenly knows exactly how a wedding should go? Are you really that narcissistic? You sound impossible to deal with, OP. What is this preoccupation with making sense? Do you know who you're marrying? If you're inviting people to your wedding who couldn't actually pick the people getting married out of a lineup, you've overdone the guest list. A maid of honor is supposed to be someone close to the bride, and her sister is the obvious choice. Making her install your sister, who she barely knows, in this role for a purely aesthetic reason would be ridiculous. Ask her to go with the dress in a light grey or wear a not white shawl or something. If it really upsets you this much, people will know who the bride is without your help, I promise. You're the a-hole. You're the a-hole. You serious, mate? Nobody could look at the bridesmaids' dresses and the big puffy white one your fiancé is wearing and be confused about who the bride is. What a weird thing to imagine. It's certainly an unusual choice to dress the bridesmaids in white, but if that's what she wants, then that's what she wants. You get to choose what the groomsmen wear. Kate Middleton's mom and bridesmaid wore white for the royal wedding. No one reported any confusion when trying to identify which woman was marrying William. I actually came looking for this comment. Both Kate and Pippa wore white floor-length dresses to her wedding, and you'd have to have been incredibly dense to think Pippa was the bride next to her sister. And, personally, I thought Pippa's mod dress was gorgeous. White for the bridal party is uncommon, but it's not going to confuse the guests into thinking Oppa's marrying everyone in it. FFS. Apparently white for the bridal party used to be somewhat traditional, something to do with confusing evil spirits. Not sure what time period. I googled it. When my sister dressed us in white. We look very similar and get mistaken often, yet no one confused us that day. Queen Victoria insisted all white for wedding herself and maids. Shock ensured. Everyone followed the example. In the end those clothes can be used only once equals proof that parents are rich. You're the a-hole. And way overthinking. The dresses may be the same color, but vastly different styles. And you're forgetting your fiancé will have you next to her most of the time, as you will have gotten married. That will help people distinguish who the bride is, I'm pretty sure. I don't recall seeing the bride and groom mingling separately at any wedding I've ever been to. They go to the tables together, constantly in photos together, dancing, eating. I think people will be able to tell who the bride is. Most importantly, if the bride isn't worried about it, you shouldn't be. But out man. Don't make this the hill you die on. Enjoy your wedding. This is such an unnecessary fight. You're the a-hole. And a big one. She absolutely should be upset and has the right to choose her maid of honor and dress. She already expressed she's not worried about confusion. Which isn't surprising, because if they are twins, I'm sure they've dealt with this for a lot of their lives. I can't imagine how you think your reasoning is justifiable. The whole idea that people will think you're marrying multiple wives is a weird complex. Wouldn't your invite explicitly state you were only marrying one person? You're the a-hole. If you really can't see why she would prefer to have her twin sister beside her on her wedding day than your sister she barely knows. 8 weeks out is really kind of too late to switch up bridesmaids' dresses as they are usually custom made and take several weeks to get in and alter, plus they are already paid for. Although if you were really against those dresses, I do think she should have taken them into account when selecting originally. People will know who the bride is. She's the one beaming in the big ball gown. I'm confused. If wearing white makes it look like you are marrying two brides, why do you want to replace the maid of honor with your sister? By your logic it would now look like you're marrying your sister. This incredibly creepy. You sound like you have a thing for both women. I hope Eva realizes that this behavior of you freaked out about her twin in a totally different dress will not abate over the years. It will continue in other ways. Hope you both cut your losses and move on. This is a huge red flag. So can best men not wear tuxes? I'm so confused. I'm starting to wonder if a lot of your unnecessary anxiety is based on some astounding ignorance about how weddings work. You wait on the altar for her. She is the one who walks up the aisle. Just so we've got all our bases covered, you and the bride will stand in the middle of the altar, while her bridesmaids and your groomsmen stand off to the side. So long as you keep this formation, no one will mistake her for her bridesmaids or you for your groomsmen. Remember, this formation must hold, lest your elderly aunt mistake your friend Jeff in the tuxedo for you, and hand her check for $90 to him. Assuming you are getting married in a Christian church, do not be alarmed by the man, or woman in some denominations, holding a book, and standing in front of you, and your wife talking about Jesus. Yes, they may appear to be wearing a white dress, but they are in fact just wearing ceremonial vestments. As long as they keep holding an open book in front of them, and if they say a lot of things about Jesus, no one should mistake them for your bride. When it comes to the honeymoon, make sure you check your bride for a C-section scar, to make sure you have the right one. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like the video, and subscribe to this channel for more content. See you all later.